Miau. Miau. Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to do the boss rotation. We'll go north to south. That will work. Okay. Roly-poly. All the way home. Uh-oh. Ah, crap. Thank you for all of your plant-like based things that I need. We could go through Carlisle, I think. And no, we'll bypass that. I swear these guys are attacking something, but what is it? Oh, close. Okay. Carlisle it is. I could have had your soul, but I don't. I am gonna run away. Excellent. And dodge and roll. Alright, where are we? Madame Etheldred. I'll take you on first, I believe. Was that one? That one. And this one. Alright, let's see if we go with that one. Cool. Do-do-do-do-do. And we're definitely taking a long way, unfortunately. Beaver 4453. Perfect. Well, we'll be making something, that's for sure. Boom. Alright, is this a shortcut or a long way? A shortcut-ish. We've got the chesty with the fist bump. We love you. Were you just sunbathing, sir? I bet you were. Alright, well thank you for your totem anyway. I appreciate you. Alright, slap it, flop it. Whatever you may be called. Take me home. Now, I really want some willy wings, but they're always really hard to find. And we need Weatherwood sap. The Impish. Okay, where's that little stump? Not here, it's through here. There's one. There's that. There's gotta be Weatherwood sap somewhere. There's one. Delicious. I believe there's another one around here. We shall see. Kabacha, hello. How are you, sir? Alright, tethering time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost dead. Okay, so there's one heavy hit. 2, 3, and you're blocking everything. You mofo. Ah, you cheeky bastard. Okay. Come on. You can't block those. There we go. Alright. Torture. I'm happy with this. Alright. Weapon wood sap. Need to find another one. There's another one here. Yep. So there's one here. And there's one there. There's got to be a third one. But we'll find it later. Alright. Etheldred. Let's go. Hola, Senecua. ¿Cómo está? Glass cage promotion time. And I will take a soul. Thank you very much. Alright. Big bags of goodies. We love those. Okay. Crypt key and normal key. Lovely. Okay. Etheldred, where you at, babe? We need you. Yes, we do. E. Do we have any willy wings anywhere? Can you show up? Maybe? Maybe not. That's a shame. Etheldred, how are you, my dear? Let's have a look. What do we got? So we got performance, medium. Let's go high. 4 point that. Maybe we'll keep that off. Motion blur, depth of field, distortion, glare. Yeah, we can drop that. Okay, that'll do. Hola, mother of spiders. And surprise. Alright, so that's literally 4 hits and she gone. Wutan, we do love you. Alright, anything else? Alka's breath, perhaps? That would be lovely. No? Okay. Come on, get out of there. Thank you. Sneaky sneak. Where's that 3-star? I guess we could. But I do want to go get this Nell Knight first. We shall ignore that for now. Sarah, hello, thank you. Yeah, I thought I'd play with it a little bit. I got bored of all the other stuff, so I thought maybe like utilizing a little bit of like the in-game like screenshot stuff that I've been taking and reconverting it and overlay. Good morning. How are you? How's the weekend? Bedtime? What time is it? Oh wow, 3 a.m. Holy. I am getting myself burned. Hmm. Three a.m. So it's almost 6 p.m. here. I'll say you're a night owl. Holy, 3 a.m. I wish I could say the same, but I'm much more of an early bird. Okay, Banneret. How often are you going to block my attacks? Not for very long. Alright. Let's have a look. I gotta try out this headset. Hang on. Alright. It's just being silly. But I wish I was a bit more of a night owl. More so like in the... I think like 11 p.m. kind of time frame. Reason being is because you guys all seem to be awake. I wish we had a loadout. So yeah, I do too. You know what? That is actually something more than able to be created. I really would like to see one. Which, funny that you mentioned that, because I actually do want to remove my Warframe loadout. Or at least to the second panel that I've got it on Twitch. Yeah, the time difference is a bit rough. Like, everyone else in the world gets everything prior to what I do. So, even with, like, streams, information that I put out, it comes at least a good, like, 10 to 11 hours after everyone else. In a way. But I would probably have to be putting information up, like, well into my evening. Which is something I could definitely do. Just while we're chatting on the extensions, I want to be able to see. I will put you there. That one there. Okay. Yeah, because I've got the Warframe Arsenal feature. But speaking of... Yeah, okay. There's, like, unfortunately no, like, loadout thing. I wonder if that could be ported across, though, for Soulframe. I'm going to see if I could do, like, a quick little battle royale. I'm just going to go get a Banneret and see if I can draw her down here. I was helping a few of the guys in chat. Zargan, Kalaman. Who else was I helping? We pretty much all just, like, jumped in and just did the boss run. But also I got to hang out with Bandini as well. And Lady the Laddie as well. That was really cool. Just in chat, but they just asked a few bits and pieces about how the loadouts work out. Virtue application, etc, etc. It was quite good. But they're certainly learning all Soulframe. But a lot of the topic was based on the reticle and bows as well, which is definitely your area of expertise. Yeah, I know, it's terrible, especially in the loadout systems. But look, you know, hopefully that all gets flushed out within the update comes next week, which I'm certainly looking forward to. So like, Lady was saying something about the reticle, the aiming capability of bows and arrows. It's certainly a lot of what you've mentioned before with, like, if you've got like a full drawn bow. It's just the way that it applies its direction of the projectile. Lady was having a bit of a look at it and just said, yeah, this could be way better. It's like, yep, it can be. Excuse me. I would have jumped in game with the guys, but I think because Bandini was loading everything, he's like, please don't jump in if you've got like crazy builds like Smooth. I'm like, well, I wouldn't say they're crazy builds, but they certainly do apply a lot of damage, so it's not really fair to play a game and experience it if someone can actually just take out a boss like really quickly. But it was really nice catching up with him and just like sitting and talking. Alright, come on. You've got some fun to play with, and it's called the Null Knight. I'm going to introduce him to you right now. Come on. Battle Royale time. Banneret, level 15. I don't think that she'll win. Granted, she's got half health. Actually, she could. Okay, there's some good stagger. There we go. I'm going to drop down volumetric bulk though. There we go. Lighting can go too for now. Alright, Banneret. Oh no, you killed the Banneret. You mean person. Alright. Yeah, I think the ballistics and arrows are completely different from anything else in the game. Yeah, see, I find that that's really interesting. I definitely find with the fly blades though, like even with the combat arts being allocated to them, of flying longer distance, they still have that trajectory of, I guess, gravity, I guess you could say. I always find them really interesting. Oh yeah, taking off volumetric fog, volumetric wind, and volumetric lighting clears up so much. I've been playing around a lot with setups this week, and those particular settings being on make it look so much nicer. And visibility alone is just exceptionally a huge step up. Like clarity. Oh wow, I just got another Watan. Dope. Yeah, the clarity around especially the corrupt areas is so much better. What else have I been playing with? I've been playing with like the particle systems as well. We don't necessarily have to have them like super high. It does make things look really pretty. But dynamic lighting, you probably could even get away with just removing that completely if you wanted to. Volumetric lighting and lit fog effects certainly increases the capability of in-game stuff. Just looking a lot cleaner and a lot easier to run. Local reflections, you can drop that off if you really want to. Film grain, we don't necessarily have to have that. I still call bloom out. Glare and film grain, they're not too bad, but distortions, depth of field, motion blur, I turn all the way off. I like having the high shader quality on. But this one here, I was playing around with, but also the volumetric wind. It's when, I'm sure that you've noticed it, like when you use soul mode, it actually compresses other particles in the game, which I thought that was so weird, especially near like kernel. So I tested it out near a tree, and sure enough, it's the volumetric wind in the game that does that. So turning off these settings just makes it look, it's a bit more crisp, I have to say that. But chucking these ones back on, let's have a look. Let's just put on one at a time. Contact shadows, I have no idea what that means. Color correction, you can play with it on and off if you want. Character shadows, obviously shadows, and then sun shadows, I can still keep on. But as far as the volumetric fog quality, I mean, you can probably really boost up to high if you really choose to, but it does apply a much nicer layer, I guess, onto the actual skyline, which makes it look so much better. But it does increase a lot of juice to the GPU applying that look. But once you take it off, like, look at that. It just makes a huge difference. But it does make it look really rough on the skylines, at least. And it does play a little bit with the skybox areas too, so... I don't know if I'm using, like, maybe it does depend on PC. Maybe, I'm not sure. Your game looks terrible without volumetric fog? Oh no, trust me. My game looks not as good without the volumetric on as well. It could be that. It could be GPU based. I don't know. I do play it with low at least. So at least I can get a relatively okay like look and feel. Because it does add more like warmth in a way with the volumetric stuff on. But it's certainly a lot more foggy. So visually it definitely gets cramped quite a bit. So if I put high on, it's still pretty good. So yeah, I know it doesn't look ideal. I do use the color bind stuff here. Visual effects intensities I've been playing a lot with as well, so I might even drop that down to like 40 and see how that operates. I mean, it's not as pretty, so it's just kind of fine-tuning things to kind of get the balancing happening the way that you need it to. But yeah, I do find the different settings, especially within video settings, make a lot of difference in certain things, but then it detracts from the game overall. I could probably go back into the actual GPU itself and probably remove everything just to kind of see how things look, because it seems pretty fresh looking to me at the moment, and not fresh as in a good way. So yeah, I do sometimes, just to reset everything, I'll take DLSS off as an example, and I'll just whack on medium everything. But then I will still drop like ambient occlusion. I just don't use it. Volumetric fog, I'll keep low. Motion blur, depth of field, distortions, I don't really need those. Glare, film grain, bloom, sure, we'll keep those on. But then even without the visual effects intensity, I just kind of play and scale these to what looks nice. So I find roughly having about like an 80 looks decent, but it's probably potentially something within the actual GPU settings that I've got set up too. I could probably go back in and have a look. And without using DLSS as well, it's really rough looking to me. It seems to really pull a lot of choppier frame rates from what I can see. So I could probably even put DLSS on and then just put auto, and that seems to generate the frame rates relatively well. But yeah, there's a lot of different bits and pieces that can really slow the game down on my end. Granted too, like I am doing a stream. So alright, Spidey, these three are done. That one's done. We'll go for Impedy, which will be nice. But I did find putting the visual intensity up a little bit more each time, it actually helps with the bird trail to be a little bit more visible each time, which is nice. So even like pumping that to like 100 plus, so say if I do like, I don't know, 115, that seems to actually give it quite a little bit more visual ease to see things, which is nice. So it makes it thicker, and even spectral sight too, it actually enhances it quite a bit. So I have been playing, oh gosh, Cabbage Patch Kids. All right, come on, get out of here, Cabbage Patch Kids. I love turning them into salad. It's actually really fun. Alright, so there's more. Hello. I do find that having the GPU particles on, though, does make it a lot easier to see certain things. Like the willow wings, especially, and then these guys just running in and out of the... out of your way. Oh, yo, actually got him. Nice. Alright. Let's go see Mr. Impedy Doodah. You can't handle Bloom? That's fair enough. Yeah. I don't even really know if Bloom... What does that even do? What have I got? bloom intensity. If I actually just turn that completely off, what does that even do exactly? Because the visual intensity is there, but not as, like, high, I guess. But I certainly do notice a bit of a draw, especially when I have the particle systems on. I even turn them off in Warframe, in all honesty. But I don't know why it seems to be different in Warframe than it does to, well, we had a yeet. I don't know why it seems different within Soulframe. Warframe to Soulframe. But, granted, this is still getting, like, you know, revamped and all that sort of jazz, so... So I still, for some reason, put Bloom on. Even at, like, 50. I don't know what exactly it does, but it seems to just make things look nice in certain ways. I think visually. But are you excited for the new, oh no, I knew I'd miss them. Alright, hang on, wait, the big one's not awake yet. That's good. You can give me your fronds. Thank you. Uh-oh. Nope. Big boy came out. Nuts. Oh, no. No, no, we didn't. We're gonna steal it. Wait, did I miss that? Oh, man. I did miss it. Oh, well. I'm not really sure if we really need the willow wings anymore. So at least I got the fronds. I've got 100 of those. 102. Blue makes bright things too bright. Ah. So I don't really necessarily mind that. But even like using Tetherin, for example, like the visual effects right there that I've got with the second ability. Where are we? So that's all medium setting stuff, so that's fine. So that would probably be more to do with the visual effect intensity. So I don't actually mind having that like fully turned up to 200. So it seems to run pretty well. And then just having a bit of a play around with, say, like particle system qualities. I could probably drop that and actually put the particle system quality high. And then just kind of keep it at that. And I mean, my GPU, everything seems to run pretty well with it, so... And it still keeps things relatively looking really good. It just makes things a little bit more obvious. But I mean, I've just been fine-tuning it all week. But by no means do I have anything that is like super overpowered, amazing PC. But it does do a lot of that. The particles that get thrown around, especially in a co-op squad, can really slow everything down quite a lot. Excuse me, but it does actually slow the enemy movement down too, and mine, so... But I like doing all this sort of stuff, just to kind of see what's affected by what, and then just kind of balancing things from there. Alright, so let's drop that down, 110. I don't mind using colorblind compensation though. Reason why, I feel like it just kind of cleans the images up just a bit. So we'll keep that down. Reflections can go, and then I'll chuck the volumetric lighting off. And then I'll drop that down. And that seems to actually really help boost playability for me. So And visually it still looks okay, it's just a bit rough here and there. But indeed, like, with the brightness stuff, I still kind of play around with it a bit, just to kind of see whether or not it goes too crazy, or it's like kind of just enough, you know. Oh my gosh, the game is awesome. It's beautiful either way, so I really hope that we get a little bit more like graphical kind of upgrades here and there, just so it smooths everything out a bit more. And hopefully eventually we don't actually have to have volumetric fog on at all for it to still maintain its luster, I guess. You'd still disable bloom? Yeah, that's fair. I don't mind it all that much. I was finally able to put the Feybolt, blessed by Mora, on the Odiak. Nuxbag, what's going on? How are you? Welcome. Yeah. I wanted to make that secondary pair of Mora-based Odiak gauntlets, and I finally achieved that little goal. And they work exceptionally well against a lot of different enemy types, and the volumetric damage from the Odiak is sensational. So I'm very glad I got to kind of rebalance the Pact a little bit, and just in Tetherin itself, just kind of playing with the setup altogether. Oh yeah, it's fun. I mean, you can pop Fellist, and it will basically, probably in about 4 hits, roughly with 18 courage in the Virtue Tree. But then also within the Pact itself, I pumped up courage to the max. I've got Sympathy Voided, Akin. That's always my backup plan. Always on Soul Steel. So if I run out of elixirs, I'm really, really excited for Koga, because I feel like this will be good choice, specifically for that particular playthrough, I guess, without hopefully not dying. And hopefully we can get a little bit more of a look at the like grounded, like the staggering defense as well. I do have that, I think it's maxed out on Bromius, I'm pretty sure. So Bromius is definitely going to be quite a good one. Actually, I don't, interestingly enough. I've got a little bit more Spirit, Grace, and a little bit of Mora. But overall, I've actually put a savings of settings for Bromius. So I think I had the Grace maxed, I'm pretty sure. But again, like, these aren't saving anything at the moment, so Bromius is a really, really fun pact as well. So I've been playing a bit more roughly with the range than anything, and then just maximizing what I can with the armor as well, which has been really, really fun. Sympathy is crazy strong. Oh yeah, now that Smite is so essential anyway, it's basically mandatory on everything. Yeah, that's true. I agree on both Zelda and Garen not needing them, but I do think having them as a backup plan, if you run out of your elixirs, you can still get like a full health on Soul Drain. So that's the only area that I will say that I would stand by having that particular node saved just in case as a backup plan. And you're also doing extra damage with Voided. Akin is always really good, but I always think that these two, I have played around it with the Zelda. Granted, you've got your Elder Bloom, I get that, but I still think it's very valuable to have as a get out of dead card to be able to do a Soul Drain. If you're in a pinch, or you're just about to die and you can pull that soul, I still think it's a very viable use of that particular node for that reason. Where's Volumetric Wind? That one's the one that I turned off. I'll see if I can go find that tree near Kernhold after I take on Malrog. It's actually, it works in quite a different few areas. You don't really see the Volumetric Wind. I've never really seen or experienced it before, Soulframe, so it's been interesting to see what it actually does. Oh, the cat's hungry. A digital cat. I forgot. I turned it on. Here, I'll go put you back to sleep, Pando. There you go. Yo, yeah. Torment's a full heal? Indeed it is, yeah. I still think it's a good backup plan, though. Like, I see where you're coming from on that, Sarah, but I still think it's a good backup plan at the end of the day. And Elder Bloom is strong, yes, but I think after this Preludes, it seems slightly different. So it may seem like a bit of overkill, but I still think it's a viable survivability tool that's not a necessity for everyone. It's just the way that I look at it. But Elder Bloom, once you drop it, like, you're absolutely fine. Yeah, see, even through here, like, the volumetric fog is... yeah. Even level 30s take, like, roughly 1 to 2 hits and they're done. Drivel. The only thing you've got to work past is her healing and her defenses too. Which is nice, because you can actually steal a soul. And she's slowed, which is always really nice too. Come on. Open up. Okay, now she's got the bowling pin out. Great. That's a bit rude, Dribble. The extra points? True, like, and that's what I've been thinking about as well, like, where can I put those points if I don't actually access that particular node for a Pact Art? I mean, I guess what you could do is put, like, 2 points into Rooted, but then you've only got one other point to play with, because they're 3 points in these ones. So, I mean, I guess you could put it into Everbound as well, just for extra health. So that'd be like 2 points in there, and then yeah, you've got like 1 more point to play with. So I don't really understand like why we've got the amount of points that we have, but then you can only put like 2 points into one other node, and then you don't have the one. Oh yeah, no, I know what you're meaning. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see what you mean. Garen Rude, like, obviously that's like, Torment is like a pure, like, hey, I'm gonna, like, get my health back, no problem. And even with a kin, sure. So you can pull that away. But I guess you can put that, I guess, into, like, Mora's Pride. I mean, you'd also have to point in there. But then you'd still have 1 more point left. So I guess, like, as an example, you just whack them into the life tree nodes, essentially, or like the virtue top, and then still put your Rooted in Wingspan. You can still do Voided for sure, and then whack that in here. I mean, I don't really see the usage of Righteous all that much, especially when you've got a kin, but if it helps to regain that particular node a lot faster, then sure, that's fine. This one, I think, is still a very old one, from my understanding. I think medallions used to be idols, if I'm not mistaken. But I guess, yeah, I mean, you could probably build right into Everbound, put more courage in, Wingspan if you really want to. But even, like, staggered defense would actually be very, very good, especially for Garen Rude. So, like, even without putting like extra points, much more than just like the 1 each, you're still getting like your 5 base plus the 1, so the under calculations are like 6 and 6, and then you've got 1 courage base coming from the Pact being applied on the Envoy, plus you've got your base stats boosting that as well. But mind you, mine was spirit based, so I think, what was that, like 4 points, I think. So I would probably think Herd Heart can just stay as it is. Righteous, certainly you can push into that if you really want to. Duration, Grace, Mora's Pride. I still feel that that would be useful for Garen's Pact, because it is, I would assume, boosting the ability output of all of the damaging parts of it, like Stampede and Torment specifically. Behest is more of just like a radial blind, really. So I guess you could kind of like go through Mora's Pride if you really want to, put some in Everbound, and then just completely boost out Rooted as an example. And then you still have 3 points left over. So essentially, just put into Everbound, and then you've got your Pact set up without Sympathy, and then you've got a whole bunch of range on that. But then you can probably even drop your Grace down, and it depends on like what weapon they're using as well. So this is courage based for me, so it doesn't do as much as what Spirit does, but I still really enjoy the fact that I've got the pack sorted that way as well. So I guess I could drop that down, keep the range a bit, but then boost this. I think the cap is roughly around 18 for this, specifically because it's courage based, and we've still got a pretty good setup of armor rating as well. Granted, it's more magic, but one upgrade in Righteous, everything will be maxed out. All upgrades in Iridius, all upgrades in Mora's Pride. Akin, yeah, that makes sense. One upgrade in Righteous, one upgrade in Saphine's Gift. Pact upgrades will almost certainly stay at 30. So all upgrades in Iridius, Akin, Mora. One in Righteous. Max that. And one upgrade in Saphine's Gift. Okay. Because I think Everbound, I mean, you can always do really good with quite a bit more health. You're almost at like 400 health, which is nice. So I might even actually just take this for a spin, just to see how the Torment will perform. It's a good place to do it too, because there's a lot of enemies here as well. So basically for Rude, you want Mora's Hand, and you want Spirit for longer durations on your CCs. Yeah, true. See, the range on this, even with like 15 Grace, I mean, I guess I could push the Grace right out and just see if that actually supplements the range of Torment even more so. But then I lose damage output on some of my weapons. Rudy Rude. So I could even drop Everbound altogether again and just put it into Mora's Pride, really. And Saphine's Gift. So that's Spirit, Duration, Range, Strength. So I'll work my way backwards. Alright, I'll max out Saphine's Gift and Mora's Pride. I could probably just do Rooted and Wingspan, and then just completely drop these two in Everbound. So I want to see how I can get more range out of Torment. Because that doesn't really seem to have a huge amount of range on it. And I don't really use Behest that much, so I guess it really just depends on how you want to use the Pact, really. And then what's our damage output of that? 68, so that's 69. But I feel like 65, 68, and that's at 18. So yeah, my Odiak with the courage-based attunement caps out at 18. So I can take all of these points and drop them into spirit and then have more grace. So we'll give that a whirl. Yeah. Behest is a good ability. So I assume it will actually take a lot longer because I haven't really built much into it. But I'm just wondering, like, what the range is on Torment, though. And there's this big boy over here, so let's test it on him. I really like this dude's shield bash, too. It's actually quite good. Alright, big boy. There's a healer. Okay. So there's a one-shot. Thank you. You'd mag Spirit. You get better returns on Spirit scaling than on Grace scaling. Do you mean like range-based, Sarah, with the Spirit rather than Grace? Okay, yeah, I had a feeling that it didn't scale. Yeah, see, that shield boom is actually really nice. Yeah. So the range doesn't do anything on Torment, so it is fixed. What's the range on it, though? Like, it's probably less than, like, 10 meters. Where's that dude? Come on. Garen Root isn't really something I utilize a lot of. I think it was more because of Torment's not great range and being fixed. If it is, then I don't really use it that much. The range helps Behest. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's worth... Until, like, we see, like, something happen within the actual pact itself, I really don't think, like, Herd Heart is useful at all. Righteous, I can certainly see. That would be beneficial. So, that's a waste of putting points into that. And possibly that too. So, predominantly, it's essentially more of a spirit-based pact than anything. But yeah, I didn't really use it that much because of the reason that Torment being fixed, this actually has a lot more range, and I can do damage output with it as well. So even though it may not need regain life on Smite because you have that with Torment, it seems to me that the Soul Drain has a much larger range overall rather than the actual pact. So that was my way of kind of looking at it. Yeah, I get that the Torment definitely scales up courage. I get that. But I think if I'm not using a huge amount of courage, I can kind of flex that anyway. So even without boosts, so to speak, like I can do 10-10, but still put more into spirit rather than grace anyway, and then kind of flex out or flesh out how much I need, roughly about 18 points in courage anyway. So I can kind of work that from the inner workings of the actual pact itself. Yeah. Yeah, I think more of like a split on Garen works. I definitely see what you're saying though, like, I just find it very interesting. It's more of like a, I guess, duration setup rather than range. I would assume if you put more grace into your virtues, then it would actually boost the range on torment, but that's unfortunate if it's fixed, because sympathy will actually drain with soul drain further away than the actual pact ability will with torment, which I think is a bit of a shame, because I love the feel and look of the pact. I think that's really cool, but yeah, that's why I haven't really used it all that much, because of that reason. Because I don't really mind the CC stuff, but you know, there's different things for different folks, I guess, too. But I still think dropping a few points, even if just one in these, could be viable as well. But I still think utilizing this as your backup plan is a pretty fun one. Yeah, I really don't see the value in grace, in all honesty. Yeah, they definitely do. I agree on that. Honestly, like, everything that I've been playing with is predominantly courage based. Like, all of the longswords, even Duelian, I put into courage, because it only seems to be useful, like the most useful virtue that we have at present. I would certainly love to see grace get a bit of a glow up. Yeah, I see what you're saying on the sympathy thing. I get it. I do. But in the way that I generally play, like, I don't play safely. I know I don't. So I don't mind putting that into these, because it allows me to get more damage out in a ranged way, which isn't locked behind like a capped ability like this. I definitely see what you're saying, for sure. But yeah, inherently, Garen Rood's Pact, in a nutshell, for me, is just not something I really utilize. So I definitely understand what you're saying with not using sympathy. I really do. But I like the reason to be able to keep myself topped up, and I do more damage on the output. But overall, it's really not a pact that I really synergize with. Not at the moment. So I would like to see a shift in how it actually operates, and actually getting some grace scaling happening for the actual abilities itself. I think that would be really nice, because I really do like this particular ability. I think that's why I'm so not using it that much. And the redistribution of healing, like, is that something that actually works? And if so, how does it redistribute that healing? Because we definitely get that from a Seldar. So the way that I think about this is, yeah, Spirit definitely makes sense in the way that you've explained it, for sure. But I would probably balance these two over Grace. I wouldn't even bother with Grace, in all honesty. But I would still go more as Pride, because that should help your Stampede do more damage. Yeah. Max Iridas? Yeah, okay. Yeah. I definitely think more as Pride and Iridas. I definitely agree with you on those points. I think they would benefit this pact a lot more. But I'm still going to run these just as like a little backup card. But Spirit definitely makes sense, especially for your Righteous, to be able to output just control around enemies as well. So even just dropping that, and then just putting the rest of your points into Courage, and then just leaving Grace at 10, and then just boost out Spirit. Because I've still got like a boost of points from the Iridas nodes in the Pact. But then again, I could also take this off, and then boost that even further with that totem. Or I could even put this in, get 2 more points of Spirit, and then make that 2028. Because I really don't use Grace at all. I really just don't see the value in it. And I'm probably going to be changing this particular bow anyway, over to courage as well. I just find it really interesting with grace until we kind of see like a viability for like its usefulness, I guess. See, courage, I can certainly see a very good damage output for that. Like, if they actually get smacked by these spectral steeds, they do pretty good. But I'll try it up against the guys inside too. Don't grace. If it goes badly, you can respec. So just completely do what? Spirit and courage then? Is that what you're saying? Oh, so you always do rude first, okay. Yeah. It's just not a pact that I like. Yeah, and that only drops up 4 points anyway, so I'll give this one a whirl. So I've got the... Oh, wait, you said spirit though, yeah? Oh, okay, right. On the righteous? Yeah, okay. So I'll go with that. Akin. So I'll leave it at that. And then just give this a try. Because, yeah, I think initially when I started first using Garen Root, I thought, you know what, this is actually pretty fun. But over time, it's just become like a dust collector for me. It just doesn't really feel good to me. More so for the torment. Like, the one hit is undeniably very good. See, I find the flyblade throws are interesting as well. You've certainly got to aim upwards, which is fine. Did I actually just deflect that arrow? With a flyblade? I swear I did. I did not block that. Interesting. I would like a solo. Alright, see how well it goes against Panctamon. I'm not going to max it out, but I just kind of want to see, like, duration based, etc. How well it operates. Just with what we've got. Because I don't specifically want to rely on courage all the time. And more so Tethrin. Okay, so she can resist the torment. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I still feel like more so the way that I've built the actual Odiak that I've got definitely sits better with tethering, mostly because of the Felest. So she can resist Torment though. Part of it's how you use it. Against bosses, Torment does 10% damage, but still gives full heal. Yeah, I definitely see that. But they can certainly break through the freezing ability of Torment. Yeah, okay, I've got you. Yeah, it still doesn't favour me towards Garan Rood's Pact, unfortunately. Gildor Polished, once again. And we got the Solace one. Yeah. I mean, that's not the specific build that you were talking about from Discord. I just thought I'd just bang it together and kind of see how Behest operates with it. But also Torment. It's more of a heal. I definitely get that. I'm just going to fat roll my way up to success. Schism 1. The Hest is very strong along CC, but it gets interrupted by damage. Yeah, I thought so. So very similar to the Bestone, I'd say. Once you've applied it, just leave it, and then just let it do its job. Yeah, so that lasts pretty well. That's pretty good. So I definitely see the benefit to Behest, but not for Torment, apart from the heal. So if you run Rats, your Behest isn't as useful. Run Rats. Oh, like as in on your weapon, you mean? Like armor. In what, is that the capacity that we're talking? Stags aren't dense enough. Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah, it definitely has a lot less hits than the Arrow Hail. The Arrow Hails are insane. Like, it's ridiculous how well they work. I might actually just chuck that on and play that with this Pact. It still doesn't favour me towards it though. I still put a bit of physical armor on my chances, and the Arrow Hail slow. That I'm assuming. Actually, I haven't tested that since I don't think last week. The Arrow Hail slow. I love how it says slow, but basically can effectively freeze an enemy though. It's actually pretty funny. Instantaneous full heal. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like the instantaneous heal is, yeah. Definitely see the benefit to that. Even being like a melee-based kit, if you're running that, that would definitely work really well. Alright, let's go take on Malrog and give him a stampede of his life. Attack rat totems. Oh, yeah, I don't really use them, to be honest. Splash damage. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't use the splash damage. I can see the benefit of it, but I actually don't use rats to attack. I generally use squirrels for the attack boost speed. The slow doesn't stack anymore? Huh. Damn it. Alright, well if that's the case. I'm just going to have a tantrum with a torch. Oh no. Where's my torch gone? Excuse me, Malrob. Ah, that was rude. Fine. I mean, the fire ticks don't do anything really, but they do ramp up eventually. And I mean, if you don't have a really great weapon, I would assume you still get your XP. You can't really see the health bar, but it does chew through the armor, which is actually kind of funny. I wish we could see his health bar, because it's just chewing away lightly. I'll see if I can put it up against the backdrop so you guys can see it, at least a little bit of it. But eventually, like, he's pretty much almost dead. So, ineffective in the way of, like, you know, doing a ton of damage, but at least I got the Duelian, and it burns through his armor. Oh, you need to go to bed? They are. The rats? Yeah, I don't really use the rats. I mean, I do like them, but I mostly just go for the attack range. The attack speed, rather. But do go get some sleep. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm assuming it's about 3:45 there for you, my dear. But again, your choice, your sleep routine, not mine. But yeah, that's the fun with the torch at least. I do want to go see it potentially be used against Nimrod, but this won't last that long, unfortunately. Ah, that's right, it doesn't do the swing damage full saving thing. I still like using the torch. I really wish we had that accessible as an inventory item. I do no actual damage too, but the fire will do it for me. Super not. It's just a gimmicky thing to do, but I enjoy doing it anyway. So I wonder how many ticks of fire it takes for these guys to basically just kind of die, because he's dead. I always find that amusing. Alright, bedtime for you, Sarah? No worries. Thank you very much for popping in too. And yeah, I'll play around a bit more and like do a bit more of what you were talking about and check in the build for it as well, because yeah, Garen Reed is just not my thing. Unfortunate. So I really do hope that it gets a little bit more of a glow up. But I guess we'll figure out more once the update comes through, so we can play around a bit more. Volumetric fog. Yeah, we're taking up volumetric fog again. It's terrible. For now, anyway. Ugh. Visual quality upgraded. I still should go in and play with my GPU though, and just kind of check out what I can actually make better. Gimme. I want your soul. Excuse me, that was rude. You interrupted my soul steal. I did not know that was possible. Now I do. Please don't block my arrows. Fine. You can have a tantrum then. Tantrum lightning. Activate. Alright. Let's go play with this group of people over here. Actually, 3-star. Perfect. Yo, Avocot. I'm coming for you.
Got a job for your legs.
I didn't understand it, but interesting. Which next bug? Like what Sarah was mentioning before? Like what we were just doing? Like with the Pact? It's definitely interesting to see like how they operate. Garen Root is certainly a very cool one. Like I like the behest and the effect that it has, but overall, like, I think just the range cap for the first ability really sucks. I wish it had at least more range, or at least as much range as what, say, like a Soul Steel would. And the other really annoying thing too is that once we lock onto a target, we can't actually prioritize at the moment unless you force your block to aim sight, or at least move away from your enemies if they're glowing with being smoke. Eventually you'll be able to pull the soul out of them. But the prioritization at the moment in the game of how the envoy targets and what they target is interesting to kind of see how it operates. Unless they're like right in front of you like that. But if you've got multiple targets around, there's actually a little encampment that's not too far away from here. Yeah, I can definitely see where Sarah's coming from in a lot of aspects on this pact, but for me, it's not really a pact that I utilize a lot of. So, like, essentially what we were talking about, your virtues essentially will play around with the damage output, duration, your strength of ability, your range, but what I found interesting is that the pact ability, specifically this one, is locked to a certain amount of range in front of you for casting, which seems to be roughly like 10 meters, if that, in game range. But essentially it's increasing the spirit, so it boosts the duration of this ability, the second ability, which crowd controls enemies, and then the longevity and damage output of the stampede. So that's why I put a whole bunch of points into Mora's Pride. I could probably even respec this once again. Spirit is good, always good. Courage is always good. Grace, unfortunately, is really lackluster in its capacity of being applied within the game. And it's more to do with your actual abilities of your pact itself. Range and everything within that, as an example, is predominantly more based on what combat weapon that you're using and the combat arts that you've chosen to put into that particular build for your weapon that you're choosing to use in whatever class it is. I predominantly prefer flyblades, magic weapons, some longswords, which I do build and have. So I'm lucky enough to have pretty much every single weapon in the game, minus a couple. I've actually stripped 4 of them away to give myself an extra slot for Odiak, but also I don't have the slots available to have these weapons within my inventory, not until the update comes through. So I'll see what happens with the P12 drop next week as well. Runes don't drop. I've only got 1 extra pact. The runes, their drop tables, I don't know what's exactly happening with them. I don't have an answer for that. I was lucky enough, as soon as the update dropped, I've got 4 extra copies of Alka's Breath. I've also got 1 just leveled up. It was for a showcase of someone asking on how to upgrade these. So this is a 3-star maxed rune. It costs about 32,000 harmony for this thing to be upgraded completely. You can see if I upgrade it to level 2, it takes me 10,000 standing of harmony, which I do have. And then I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's about 20,000 to hit max rank. Also, like with magic weapons, the Arcstorm rune, I've been able to get an extra 1, surprisingly. I do have maxed runes for all 3 weapon classes. So I do have an Everflame. Attack speed on these guys is actually quite good. Like very good, actually. I generally will run like a 3rd squirrel for the smite chance as well. Smite on stagger or on smite, as an example, that can stagger enemies. So I haven't actually tried that, to be honest. But I mean, I could also put like a physical armor into a long blade or sword. But smite reduction on armor is decent. But yeah, I've just been playing around with a lot of different weapon setups. Perfect throws on sword and boards for the perfect smite chance, 1 in 6 chance, stagger on primary attacks, and enemy armor, reduction by 11. I can switch between like the physical armor reduction and the defense, or magic armor if I choose to. And you can see that change the different stats up here. So I have a lesser overall armor because I've chosen the 11 physical armor, but if I add, say, like a little duck in a max totem, it would go up to 67 and give me a little bit more magical damage buffer. But stability certainly needs a little bit more of a tweak, which I'm sure that will happen. But as you can see, if I change between different weapon types, depending on my setup, I generally will use the ducks on magic weapons for magic defense, but it also helps benefit if I carry this particular style of weapon, the magic weapons, or even the Gwilyn staff or the Earthroot staff. Reason being, if I want to make like a battle mage as an example, I will put the duck runes, because they're gold and they're 3 flowers, they're fully maxed. I get a much higher overall armor rating, and I generally will pop back into the UI to see the actual numbers that are reflected. The UI at the moment is a little bit janky, and when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. I'll even just show you the Bromius. So you can get well over 100 armor with your Bromius setup, in a way that you've got the maximized amount of armor coming through from both your primary weapon and your secondary weapon. So if I add another duck in there, another duck in here, that will boost me up to 111 armor in totality, and that includes the Wizard's Wish armor of 3 points, 2 in magic, 1 in physical, so it adds those points into your total armor rating. And the benefit to Bromius's Pact is that it scales off armor rating as well, specifically for Rump Thump and Song of Growth. But then Webbit Root, I think it does its own kind of damage. I don't have full like setup on how that's been working, but I still put Voided Sympathy. I max those out. Akin, I always generally choose these. These are my preferences. I do understand different people play different things, but I keep these as like an extra damage, get out of jail free card. If I'm in a pinch and I don't have any healing around me, if there's no drops of like elixirs, or if I don't think to use one, I reflexively go and use Soul Steal on enemies, and I get a full regain life, but I also do damage to them. So I'm thinking ahead of, say, like how the Koga system is going to be implemented into the game. But also it does talk about your small amount of damage being blocked by armor, and chance to steal armor strength from targets on every attack. I don't know how effective this is, but I'm going to max it out anyway. And then, as you can see, I have put a bit more into Spirit for duration, just 1 point in Grace or 2 points in Grace, and then a little bit more Courage. And then I can put more points into Rooted if I want to, but I've got an extra point, so I'll just put that into the health base. So I get overall, over in the Virtues, I've got 390 life, and then I can basically just boost a ton of Courage if I really want to. And what that will do is basically make this an absolute one-hit wonder ability. Granted too, it's overkill for the weapon damage output, because I'm pretty confident Courage based for the Odiak that I've been able to create with the Feybolt blessed by Mora, it caps out at roughly like 18 Courage for the Virtue. Duration I don't really worry too much about, and Grace range, it does help, but predominantly if I just cast my 3, I've got the Song of Regrowth on, and then I can just go shove my face in these guys' enemies' faces. So these guys are level 28. And they're all dead. Pretty much. I don't know how that guy missed it, but anyway. But it really does a huge amount of damage to enemies. I don't know if he was blocking, but anyway. Rump Thump can really pump some damage out. I struggle with some regaining health. I don't get smites, and I think they need a better way of getting endo. Is that a Warframe term? I am familiar with endo, but unfortunately that is not a material that we can get in this game. You struggle with regaining health. I mean, essentially the reason why I choose the synergy of, regardless of whatever pact I'm using, at least I know if I use sympathy, I'm gonna regain life on a soul steal. So this saying regain on life on smite is incorrect. As soon as you smite an enemy, that's when it gives you the opportunity to pull that soul out of the enemy. So it's not on smite, it's actually on a soul steal. So those cards of what they're saying is incorrect. So hopefully we see that changed. It should say deal damage on soul steal and regain life on soul steal. So I can definitely understand the confusion there, which is, you know, it would be nice if that was clarified. Let's go have a look and see if we can get some mockeries, which aren't even here. So that's great. Indoors, essentially, whatever they call the stuff you upgrade the animals with. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. That's called harmony. I'll see if I can grab this little critter if he doesn't want to run away fully. So we've got a purple totem. So if you get all of these chords right, you just got to wait until the end. Whoops. And then actually play the right tune. So if you get at least 4 of them right, you do get about 300 harmony. I could get extra if I hit the bonus, but also get the actual tune done correctly all in one. I'm not very good with the harmonious capture of animals, but I'll give this one a try again. So this one's a green 3-star. So it's 541. And that one gives you roughly about anywhere from like 100 plus harmony. So the more animals that you go and collect around Alka, it definitely incentivizes you to do that. If you're not sure of what ones that you do have, you can come into your inventory and come down here and click on totems, and this will show you every single totem that you have for whatever weapon class it's part of. So you got bows, you got magic weapons, you've got polearms, you got short swords, you got sword and boards or shields, long swords, and fly blades as well. So just check the little icons in the little bottom left hand box, and then it'll just give you a number of how many totems you have of that specific weapon class. So you can, and there was a feature that was happening, and it was a bug. If I caught some totems or an animal and I charmed them, it basically gave me like 30 copies of that one totem. Some of them, they gave me like 90. So unfortunately, I don't think that is actually available within the game anymore. I think it has been patched out, but I was one of the lucky ones that was able to go around and farm out the entire rotation of different totems within the game. And I was able to get an absolute truckload of extra harmony just sitting in my inventory now. So with any sort of future runes, I may have the capability to be able to just max those out as soon as they enter the game, or as soon as I actually obtain them. And RNG blesses me with the drop chance of it. So harmony is the tool that you use to be able to upgrade any totem that you obtain in the game. So say for example, let's just pretend I just caught, well, let's say we just got the deer, and I've got, it's a little green one. It gives me 3 stagger on primary attacks. If you've got enough of the harmony, which is just up the top left here, just right next to your account name, you can just go in and just upgrade them. So that costs about 3,500 harmony in total for any green totem. Say for example, you get a gold totem and you've got the duck. Whatever slot you decide to put that particular totem in, you can slot it in here, you can slot it in the defense slots. Have a look at the actual list underneath of what it actually highlights in what slot that you're in. So if I want heavy cast slowing enemies, sure, I want to do that. So I've got rank 1 is 1,500, 3,000 for the next, and then 6,000 for the next. So I've got 4,000. You can actually click on your totem and then unclick compendium or compatible, and you can see if you've got replicant totems somewhere else. It doesn't matter what weapon it is. The green ones give you roughly 250 per meltdown of every totem. And then say, for example, I have this one or that one. It's a different color base. 500, I believe, is the purple totem. So you can reduce, 2 of these as an example. If you melt down your max 3 levels, you can actually kind of bust them up for like a huge amount if you're not using them that much. But I'm lucky enough to have a lot of different replicant ones. So if I go back, I can finally put that one in, and then I can max it out. And then I can use that dark anywhere. On this particular weapon class, which is a magical weapon, or the flyblades as well. So they apply to your Gwillin, your Odiak, and your Urstrute. And surprisingly, they do apply the Arcstorm rune to your flyblades as well. So you don't feel the actual slog. It's to do that make game over and over again. I mean, look, it's still a grind-based game at the end of the day. Like, people... I don't mind the grind. I mean, I played Warframe for like a decade plus. More than 10 years. I've got 4,300 and something hours in it. It is the style of the game to go and grind and to spend the experience to be able to go do stuff and just travel around. I actually enjoy that personally. I know a few people have said, oh man, that's going to be a really big grind, but that's just part of the essence of what the game is. If you don't want to super grind, don't super grind. Take your time. It's even in Warframe. Like, I do stream Warframe sometimes, but predominantly my focus is purely Soulframe. I really enjoy this game for what it is, and everything is subject to change anyway, which is actually quite nice. So everything that I say now is most likely going to change by next week. So being realistic in what I've learned so far, I'm probably going to have to relearn a whole bunch of stuff next week when the update drops on the 25th as well. But yeah, essentially in a nutshell, that's what Rump Thump and Weapon Attunements can do. It basically just clumps enemies together, and you basically just like stomp them, which is really nice. Releasing animals too gives you totems. It is beneficial to be able to pick up all of your caged animals, but even just using your soul mode, just while you're running around, you will see a glow around your little animals that are running away from you. And you can kind of see them through terrain, which is nice. So I can see roughly 2 or 3 animals at the moment. That one's trying to get away. And if you get close enough, roughly within 10 meter mark, you can pull them towards you with your spectral sight, and then press Soul Steal. And that will actually stop them, grab them, and then you can play your harmony tune and obtain harmony from them. There we go, we got roughly 50. So it looks like you actually get less on some of them. And that was a green tier totem, which is the 3-star, which are still really good. And every totem is worth picking up. Just some will do better things operationally better than others, depending on what kind of slot you put it in, attack, utility, or defense, and what kind of build you're actually looking to create, basically. So let's take on Dimrod. He's still stunned. That's hilarious. Alright, bud. You can actually hit him in the air if you really want to. It doesn't really do all that much damage to him, but it's still kind of fun to do. I think Weapon Attunements, can kind of screw him up a little bit too, which is kind of fun. But clearly my bow does not do enough damage to him. But this is what my flyblades can do. They can actually remove enough of his armor so I can start affecting his health for a shorter period of time. And then it basically will return that armor. But as soon as his health bar goes red, you know that your weapon is going to be able to do enough damage to that particular enemy to be able to do damage to their health. And it's always nice to use the cloud dweller. Magical sunlight in a bottle. It's great. What does the 3 do? I can't quite remember. I think it's more defense based. It's for a short period though, so I can't really figure out. There we go, you get Odiak from him still, which is good. I'm pretty sure it boosts your armor output just for a short amount of time. So I don't really know exactly whether or not Spirit really works with it in duration based. Increased armor strength for you and your nearby enemies. So I don't really know exactly how long that actually lasts. I've got no indicator on how long it does last. The way that I think about it, once you cast it, it lasts about maybe 5-6 seconds, I think. And then you hear the song play much softer. So I assume that that's the end of that particular buff from Song of Growth. Weapon Root is really good. It's just a really good crowd control, just in a very straight line. But Rump Thump is certainly amazing as well. So, but I have been kind of playing around with Courage in the Virtues just to see if the Pact still does an absolute ton of damage regardless as well. So, but the fact that I changed my weapon as well, it drops my armor rating down. So now that I've got the Odiak back on, I've got 111 armor. So I actually want to play a little bit more with a much lower courage altogether. And then I want to actually boost Spirit up. And then use Rump Thump again on enemies, roughly around like 25 to 30. And then we'll see how we can operate with Rump Thump then, because it should actually output a lot more damage than what I was just doing. This is crazy. I haven't got one Odiak from that guy. I would assume that the drop tables for the Odiak have been diversified throughout enemies, and he is one of them. You should be able to get an Odiak fragment from the Nimrod from Martyr's like bounties, the tier 3, when they appear. And then lastly, you should be able to get it from some of the white mage enemies as well. Alright, so we'll go here. And that Dimrod, the Discharge Nimrod I just fought, he does have a chance to drop the Everflame rune, but it is very difficult to get. I'm surprised I actually got it myself. Alright, but we'll go take on the Bedegar Stag. And then I will probably have to run after the Bedegar Stag. I do have an appointment to get to. You've been killing the mages? Yeah. They will drop eventually. It's just the RNG drop tables, random number generation, doesn't seem all that nice at the moment. I would assume because Prelude 12 is just around the corner, I'm sure that there's things that are being bug fixed, looked at, re-ironed out. Just things that need to be updated for the actual drop of Prelude 12. So I would only assume the RNG drop table is probably part of that as well. So that's with barely any courage at all. So I do have a few bonus points into courage, but my main part of courage in the virtues is literally 10 points in the virtue tree. So the benefit to having courage is useful, more so for your weapon, but this Pact specifically operates off your armor rating in totality, from what I've looked at. So you can have a very low amount of courage, and technically I've got 8 points that are coming from these here that build into my courage tree, and then I've got an extra 2 points on top of that, so that makes 8 in total, to make 10. So I've got 2 points from my actual envoy. I started off as a spirit user, so my base courage as an envoy, stripping it right back to base level, would be 2 points, and then I get an extra few points back in from, I don't think this operates, no it doesn't, so the rest of my points are actually coming from Mora's Pride as well. So that'd be like 8 bonus points from Mora's Pride, plus the 2 little points that I've got from my envoy, which you don't see, but I can tell that I've got plus 8 points coming from somewhere else to add into 10 courage, so that's why I can't take it down any further. I can only add to it. So we'll see how it operates against the stag now. You're also getting negative drops all the time. If that's the case, Nuxbag, I would honestly jump onto the Soulframe Discord and have a look at Sarah's post from the dev team in reference to messaging, or like putting a ticket log in, I think it is, for negative drops. I've been getting like negative drops, but I've also been getting I think unidentified items. I'm not overly worried about it, to be honest. I'm really not. Oh, okay, right. So you've got a ticket? Okay, well, you should be fine then. But I guess I would also be mindful, you know, there's like thousands of people playing the game. So they're probably going to take a little while to be able to do something about that. So there's one rump now. So if I can, I'll see if I can actually pull the soul from him. And now I've got my rune active. And I can probably do another rump pump, and it should kill him, roughly. Or just stagger him. Which I actually really enjoy. So I do want to play a bit more around with this Pact, just to get a little bit more damage output with it. But for the most part, this Pact actually smashes, literally. So we've got a level 30 enemy. Wonderful. Like, all you have to do is jump near them. You don't necessarily have to jump on them, although it does help, and it does make it look really funny to do that. But essentially, like, it is a very good Pact for that reason. That's the Pact I have. My 1 and 2 usually miss. I haven't been able to figure out how to hit reliably with those. In all honesty, this is something I came across with someone else the other day. And this is actually something I learned from Sarah Loves Archery, who was in chat before. I would go into your accessibility and turn on Enable Controller Aim Assist. I know it seems counterintuitive to do that, but for some reason, this does affect your keyboard mouse aiming. For whatever reason, I don't have the answer for it specifically, but it does have something to do with your actual tracking of your projectiles being thrown, especially with your accuracy of the Odiak, as an example. It does weird stuff, like it will prioritize a box in front of you over like an enemy. I think there's some enemies down here, so I'm going to turn it off, and I'll show you what I mean. It's like, it's very inconsistent in the way that it outputs its damage projectile and the way that it's actually selecting what's in front of you. It's really strange, but you have a lot more control over the aim assist. I would assume it's something to do with the actual reticle itself, so it's a bit weird. Yeah, it does that all the time. It'll just, yeah, it does. It shoots off in like the most randomized places, and it's like, what is going on? So yeah, it's definitely the controller aim assist. If you don't have it on, I would recommend pressing your block button, which should also have in the actual keybind settings, block/aim assist, aim, sorry, because it will prioritize where your reticle is basically facing to a certain degree. But then if I come through here and there's something else in front of my reticle, it will just prioritize that instead. So it's a bit funky. And I assume that most of these guys, yeah, like level 28. So this particular Song of Growth has now finished. It literally lasts for like 5 seconds or something. It's really not that long of a duration. And from what I've seen so far, I don't think Spirit really does much to boost its actual longevity, basically. So I'll show you against this archer at least. But while we're waiting for him to get me down, I would say enable controller aim assist in your accessibility. It's the 6th option, or sorry, the 5th option down underneath controller. Down the list at least. It's very strange why it affects the keyboard and mouse, but it does. And I'm pretty sure a few people have actually put their tickets in for it in the Discord, so I'm hoping that that does get looked at prior to this update being dropped as well. So yeah, the ability I just used, that should be finished. So as long as these plants are in the ground that are showing, that's how long your ability will last. And they're already disappearing again. So it really doesn't last all that long, unfortunately. I am hoping that gets looked at. And just quite a few of the things that we discussed within, say, like Garen Rude, like the virtues, the nameplates on some of the abilities within the packs, specifically Voided and Sympathy. I really hope All Souls Be Forgiven regain life on Spectral Sight and Soul Steel, something like that. The smite mechanic is just to engage the soul. To drain the soul, that is what actually activates these two abilities to actually operate correctly. So you do have to produce a soul steel for them to work. But as far as the Pact of Bromius goes, I actually really like it. It's just being able to kind of look through the, how would you say, I guess the puzzle of what the Pact abilities are referring to, and then kind of figuring it out from there. We don't really get our handheld a lot in certain areas as well. So hence, I think that's why there's so many different creators, streamers out there who do apply their time, like myself, to be able to give you guys, I guess like a translated version of what these actually mean. So, and I mean, that's also part of what the communities are about as well, to be able to, you know, test things out, assist them, try all sorts of different things, and kind of see how that actually works out in the end for most as well. Where is the squirrel? Attack speed, yes we do. Armor, I could play something different with that. Stagger reflective while blocking. Duckies are usual. Stability, I could, but I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to set up my builds for probably later next week as well. Actually, armor reduction is a good one. Nah, I'll do the attack speed for these ones at least. And then this one, I will definitely put the reduction on enemy armor. So I do want to play with this one a little bit more. And I still need to level that one as well. Cool. That's super annoying. It does all the time. Yeah, I just looked at my emails. They're asking for more information. I'm not too sure what they're asking in relevance to that email. It sounds like that you would probably need to give them the information that you're iterating to them in reference to what you're requesting. I would say screenshots would certainly help, but I would certainly have a look at the Soulframe Discord and see the step-by-step process essentially that Sarah or the team have put into the Soulframe Discord for putting a ticket in. I think there's a logs area that you can do that. You can download the logs from the game instance, or the game client rather, sorry, in your settings before you enter the game up the top right hand side. It should say get logs or something like that. And that's how you give them the information that you're looking for. I don't exactly know their process. I don't work for DE, unfortunately. I would if they asked, but I don't. So they would definitely have their own processes of producing the information that they're requesting from players. I think I'm going to still maintain that at Grayson. Actually, I lie. I'm going to do Waz's Wish. Alright, I think that will do for stream, because I do need to go. I can check and see who else is in the Soulframe. If you guys wish to continue forward. I don't know who's on, but also it is extremely late for most people, so. Oh, Zargan's on. Alright, I'll send you guys to Zargan. Sweet. Alright, I'm going to send you guys to Zargan Tavern. They are absolutely amazing. They are also a Soulframer and also a current streamer. So I will send you guys to Zargan. I will stay and say hi, because we've gotten along very well. And thank you very much for watching. It's a pleasure. So let's go raid him out, and we'll chat soon. Alright, ciao for now, guys.